Hello. Don't forget to like and subscribe before starting the video. Who is James Monroe? James Monroe was the 5th President of the United States, serving 2 terms from 1817 to 1825. He was born on April 28, 1758, in Westmoreland County, Virginia. Monroe grew up in a family of modest means and received his education at the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia. During the Revolutionary War, Monroe served in the Continental Army, rising to the rank of major. He fought in several major battles, including the Battle of Trenton and the Battle of Monmouth. After the war, Monroe studied law under Thomas Jefferson and became involved in Virginia politics. He served in the Virginia House of Delegates and later in the Continental Congress. In 1783, Monroe married Elizabeth Cartwright, and the couple had 3 children. Monroe continued to serve in public office, including as a U.S. Senator, Minister to France, and Governor of Virginia. In 1816, he was elected President of the United States, succeeding James Madison. Monroe's presidency was marked by a focus on national unity and expansion. He presided over a period of relative peace and prosperity, known as the Era of Good Feelings. During his presidency, the United States acquired Florida from Spain and established the Monroe Doctrine, which warned European powers against interfering in the affairs of the Western Hemisphere. Monroe's legacy as president has been somewhat overshadowed by the accomplishments of his contemporaries, such as Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. However, he is remembered as a strong advocate for American interests and a key figure in shaping American foreign policy. James Monroe was born into a family of farmers and planters in Westmoreland County, Virginia. His father, Spence Monroe, was a planter and a carpenter, while his mother, Elizabeth Jones Monroe, was a stay-at-home mom who taught her children at home. Monroe's family was of Scottish and Welsh descent and had lived in Virginia for several generations. As a child, Monroe was educated at home by his mother and a private tutor. He later attended the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, where he studied law and political theory. After completing his education, Monroe practiced law in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and became involved in local politics. In 1776, at the age of 18, Monroe enlisted in the Continental Army and served as an officer under General George Washington. He participated in several major battles, including the Battle of Trenton and the Battle of Monmouth, and was wounded at the Battle of Trenton. After the war, Monroe returned to Virginia and resumed his law practice. He also became involved in state politics and was elected to the Virginia House of Delegates in 1782. In 1783, he married Elizabeth Cartwright, a wealthy New York socialite. In 1784, Monroe was elected to the Continental Congress and served as a delegate until 1786. During this time, he became a strong supporter of Jeffersonian democracy and worked closely with Thomas Jefferson and James Madison to promote states' rights and limit the power of the federal government. In 1790, Monroe was elected to the United States Senate, where he continued to champion states' rights and oppose the policies of the Federalist Party. He later served as Minister to France and Governor of Virginia before being elected President of the United States in 1816. James Monroe's presidency, 1817 to 1825, was marked by a focus on national unity, expansion, and diplomacy. The period of his presidency is often referred to as the Era of Good Feelings, due to a relatively low level of political polarization and economic growth. One of the major events that occurred during Monroe's presidency was the Missouri Compromise of 1820, which resolved a conflict between the North and South over the issue of slavery. The compromise allowed Missouri to enter the Union as a slave state, while Maine entered as a free state, and established a line dividing slave and free territories in the West. Another significant event during Monroe's presidency was the acquisition of Florida from Spain in 1819. This was accomplished through a treaty negotiated by Secretary of State John Quincy Adams, which settled boundary disputes and secured Spanish recognition of U.S. claims to Texas. Monroe is perhaps best known for his contributions to American foreign policy, including the Monroe Doctrine. The doctrine, announced in 1823, stated that the United States would not tolerate European interference in the affairs of the Western Hemisphere, and in return, the U.S. would not interfere in European affairs. The doctrine was aimed at preventing European colonization or intervention in newly independent Latin American countries. In addition to the Monroe Doctrine, Monroe also pursued a policy of territorial expansion. Under his presidency, the United States acquired significant territory through treaties with Spain and the UK, including Florida, the Oregon Territory, and parts of present-day Texas, New Mexico, and California. Despite his successes, Monroe faced several challenges and controversies during his presidency. One of the most notable was the Panic of 1819, which was the first major financial crisis in U.S. history. The panic was caused by a combination of factors, including speculation, overproduction, and a decline in demand for American goods. It led to widespread bankruptcies, foreclosures, and unemployment, and was a major political setback for Monroe and his party. Another challenge Monroe faced was rising sectional tensions over the issue of slavery, which would eventually lead to the Civil War. While Monroe attempted to promote national unity and downplay regional differences, the issue of slavery continued to divide the country and would ultimately overshadow many of his accomplishments as president. James Monroe's impact on American history is significant, and he is often remembered as one of the most influential presidents of the early 19th century. His contributions to American foreign policy and territorial expansion helped to shape the nation's identity and set the stage for future expansionist policies. Monroe's presidency also marked a period of relative political stability and economic growth, which further cemented his legacy as a successful leader. Monroe's strengths as a leader included his commitment to national unity and his ability to navigate complex political and diplomatic issues. He was skilled at building consensus and was widely respected for his integrity and statesmanship. He also demonstrated a strong sense of duty and patriotism throughout his life, serving his country in a variety of capacities and putting the needs of the nation above his own personal interests. However, Monroe's weaknesses as a leader were also notable. He was often criticized for being indecisive and lacking a clear vision for the country's future. He also struggled to balance competing interests within his own party, which led to some political setbacks and compromises. Over time, Monroe's legacy has evolved and become more complex. While he is still remembered as a successful president who helped to expand American territory and promote national unity, his record on issues like slavery and Native American rights has come under greater scrutiny. Some historians have criticized Monroe for his role in perpetuating the injustices of slavery and the forced removal of Native Americans from their lands. Despite these criticisms, Monroe remains an important figure in American history, and his contributions to the country's early growth and development continue to be studied and celebrated. His legacy as a statesman and patriot endures, and his life and career serve as an inspiration to future generations of American leaders. In conclusion, James Monroe was the fifth President of the United States who served from 1817 to 1825. He was born in Virginia and had a distinguished career in law, politics, and the military. During his presidency, Monroe focused on national unity, expansion, and diplomacy, which led to the acquisition of Florida from Spain, the Missouri Compromise of 1820, and the Monroe Doctrine. Monroe's legacy in American history is significant. He is often remembered as one of the most influential presidents of the early 19th century, and his contributions to American foreign policy and territorial expansion helped to shape the nation's identity. While his presidency was not without its challenges and controversies, Monroe's commitment to national unity and his ability to navigate complex political and diplomatic issues cemented his legacy as a successful leader. It is important to understand James Monroe and his contributions to American history because they provide valuable insight into the nation's early growth and development. His presidency marked a period of relative political stability and economic growth, and his legacy as a statesman and patriot continues to be celebrated today. By studying Monroe's life and career, we can gain a better understanding of the challenges and opportunities that faced early American leaders and the decisions they made that continue to shape our country today. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it informative, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future.